You're welcome to the Midweek News on AAU TV, and we're coming to you live from the headquarters of the Association of African Universities here in Accra, Ghana. My name is Jemima, Deladem, Dotsey, and now to our top stories for today. In higher education, Morocco draws up new strategy to transform its research sector. And in health, WHO sounds alarm as Ebola cases rises past 470 in Central Africa. In business, Dangote refinery surpasses 700,000 barrels per day in major milestone. An international 5 injured in stabbing at New York City. We'll be back with more news. Stay tuned. Welcome back from the break, and now to our news in detail. Morocco's Minister of Higher Education, Zindi El Medio, has outlined a sweeping reform agenda to overhaul the country's scientific research sector, addressing decades of weak governance, inadequate legal frameworks, limited funding, and poor evaluation systems. Speaking before the House of Representatives on Monday, the minister acknowledged the sector's long-standing shortcomings and unveiled a package of reform anchored by new law, a national research strategy covering 2026 to 2035, and greater autonomy for universities as lawmakers raise concerns that Morocco's research spending remains below 1% of GDP.
El Medio told Parliament that the scientific research sector had long faced serious challenges, saying the country lacked an adequate legal framework, human resource did not meet international standards, funding was limited, and there was no regular or systematic evaluation process in place. At the heart of the reforms in Law 24-65, a dedicated legal framework for scientific research that introduces 14 articles specifically devoted to the sector. The minister noted that the previous law contained no comparable provisions and that research laboratories had previously had no legal existence at all. The new framework institutionalizes research structures and clarifies their missions and responsibilities. The government also revised legislation governing the National Center for Scientific Research, strengthening its regional role and expanding its capacity to conduct research directly rather than serving solely as a coordinating body. Morocco is currently finalizing a national research strategy for 2026 to 2035 to be accompanied by a new university development model, creating dedicated research hubs and innovation structures that previously did not exist. Universities will also gain greater autonomy, with institutions permitted to appoint up to 10 vice presidents and establish specialized centers tailored to their research priorities. On funding, the minister stressed the importance of mobilizing resources beyond government budgets as pressure mounts to bring Morocco's research investment in line with international standards.
Moving on, South African universities have raised a record-breaking 2.4 billion rand in philanthropic funding in a single academic year, nearly 4 times the 659 million rand recorded when tracking began in 2013. The findings published by Yathello in its latest annual survey of philanthropy and higher education cover the 2023-2024 academic years and reveal extraordinary growth in donor appetite across the sector. But the landmark figures marks a deepening structural crisis, with historically disadvantaged institutions failing further behind as wealthier universities capture the lion's share of private funding.
The survey reveals that while philanthropic income saw a slight consolidation to 2.32 billion rand in 2024, total advancement income, including funding from sector education and training authorities, still reached an impressive 2.7 billion rand. The concentration of funding, however, is stark. The highest amount received by a single institution climbed from 783 million rand in 2023 to a staggering 856 million rand in 2024. Meanwhile, historically disadvantaged institutions continue to struggle, frequently unable to keep pace in an increasingly digital and competitive environment. Report author Dr. Michael Kossa warned that a troubling digital divide risks further marginalizing historical disadvantaged institutions, noting that huge disparities in philanthropic income between wealthier universities and their underfunded counterparts remained a core concern. He stressed that the immediate challenge was boosting fundraising at these institutions and keeping them with fully fledged advancement offices capable of attracting significant private investment. On a positive note, the total number of active donors reached 9,106 in 2023, more than double the 4,355 recorded at the survey's baseline in 2013. Inyatalo's acting executive director, Fayal Domingo, stressed that accurate data collection was not merely an administrative exercise, but a strategic necessity for building a more equitable and resilient higher education system. She said the focus must now shift toward ensuring the entire sector benefits from these insights to effectively bridge the historical gaps that continue to divide South African institutions.
In health, the Ebola outbreak in Central Africa has surged to nearly 500 confirmed cases, with the World Health Organization recording 471 cases and 84 deaths across the Democratic Republic of Congo and neighboring Uganda as of Saturday, a jump of 100 cases and 20 deaths in a single day. Declared an international public health emergency 3 weeks after it began on May 15th in northeast DR Congo. The outbreak is now drawing urgent warnings that without strong intervention, it could revive in a devastating issue, as the WHO and Africa CDC have launched a $580 million response plan to battle the outbreak over the next 6 months.
The WHO's daily updates recorded 452 confirmed cases and 82 deaths in DR Congo and 19 confirmed cases and 2 deaths in Uganda. The rapid single-day spike has intensified fears about the trajectory of an outbreak for which there are no approved vaccines and treatments, as it involves the rare Bundibugyo species of Ebola. A senior official of the United States Centers for Disease Control and Prevention warned on Friday that without strong public health interventions, the outbreak risks rivaling the scale of the 2014 West Africa epidemic, which saw over 28,000 cases and more than 11,000 deaths. Jason Asher, director of the CDC Center for Forecasting and Outbreak Analytics, told a press briefing that such a scale was possible. WHO Director General Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus said the outbreak was moving fast and that authorities were still playing catch-up. He stressed the need to stop the outbreak where it stood, support countries already responding, and ensure neighboring nations were ready to detect and
We'll be back with news on Discovery. Stay tuned. Hello Africa is your live breakfast show delivering informative, entertaining, and energizing start to your day.
Our expert reviews break down the headlines and help you make sense of today's news.
We bring you nothing but the most interesting highlights on our top African stories.
Plus lifestyle features, inspiring interviews, and the best on the continent.
Every episode is packed with stories that inform, inspire, and celebrate the spirit of the continent.
Catch us live every Monday at 9 a.m.
And be part of the conversation on our social media platforms.
Hello Africa, bringing the continent to your morning.
Welcome back from the break and now to our discovery story. Scientists have found that seed from moringa tree, long known as the miracle tree, can match or outperform chemical treatment in filtering microplastics from drinking water, offering a greener and safer alternative for water treatment plants. The study, led by researchers from Sao Paulo State University in Brazil and published in scientific journal ACS Omega, comes as Europe intensifies monitoring of microplastics in drinking water amid growing concerns over their links to cancer, heart disease, and reproductive problems. The findings could reshape how water treatment plants tackle one of the world's most pressing silent health crises.
Microplastics, tiny plastic particles, less than 5 millimeters in length, have been building up in global water systems for decades. Released from car tires, paint, textiles, and degraded plastic packaging. Beyond their direct health risks, they can absorb and transport other hazardous pollutants throughout ecosystems and into the food chain. Currently, European water treatment plants rely heavily on alum, an inorganic chemical coagulant, to remove microplastics from water, which have been linked to neurological disorders including Alzheimer's disease. Alum also produces large volumes of difficult-to-manage sludge, and its production requires environmentally destructive strip mining in tropical regions. The new study compared alum with a salt-based extract made from moringa seeds. Both removed over 98% of harmful PVC microplastics particles from waste, but moringa proved more consistently reliable across a wider range of pH levels. Moringa was also found to be effective without the energy-consuming flocculation stage, potentially cutting both cost and carbon emissions at treatment plants. The moringa trace used in water purification is thought to date back to ancient Egypt, making this one of humanity's oldest purification techniques, now being validated by modern science. Researchers caution that further testing is needed at scale, but the findings point to a promising plant-based future for clean water technology.
In sport, FIFA has banned fans from bringing reusable water bottles into stadiums at the 2026 World Cup, sparking immediate backlash from supporters and health experts ahead of a tournament set to be played in high summer heat across the United States, Canada, and Mexico. Reported on Wednesday by The Athletic, the updated Stadium Code of Conduct reverses an earlier provision that explicitly permitted empty, transparent reusable bottles of up to 1 liter. FIFA says the ban is based on safety considerations, but critics warn it could leave fans vulnerable to heat illness and forced to pay inflated stadium prices for water.
FIFA's original guidelines had explicitly permitted fans to bring empty, transparent reusable bottles of up to 1 liter into stadiums. That provision has now been quietly removed, replaced by a blanket ban stating that reusable bottles may not be brought into the stadium under any circumstances. The timing has raised serious concerns. Climate researchers have warned that parts of North America face increasingly extreme summer heat, while sports scientists say conditions measured using the Wet Bulb Globe Temperature Index can significantly raise the risks of heat-related illness in outdoor stadiums. FIFA defended the decision, saying the rule was designed to prevent potential safety risks and that some host stadiums already prohibited outside bottles. The governing body added that hydration stations, cooling areas, and misting
In entertainment, Nigerian music star Burna Boy, Rema, and Davido have been confirmed as headliners at the major events surrounding the 2026 FIFA World Cup, marking a landmark moment for Afrobeats on the global stage. FIFA announced that Burna Boy will perform at the opening ceremony in Mexico City. On July 11th, Rema would also headline the opening ceremony in Los Angeles, and Davido will headline a World Cup countdown concert in Los Angeles on June 10th. All four Nigerian artists, including Arya Star, also feature on the official World Cup soundtrack album.
Burna Boy will share the stage in Mexico with Colombian superstar Shakira, performing their collaborative track Die Die at the tournament's opening ceremony. Other performers at the Mexico City event include Mexican artists Alejandro Fernandez, Belinda, Lila Downs, Los Angeles Azul and Mana, as well as international acts J Balvin, Danny Ocean and South Africa's Tyler. In Los Angeles, Rema will perform alongside Katy Perry, Future, Anita and Tyler in what FIFA describes as a major cultural and entertainment celebration. FIFA said Los Angeles would play host to a high-energy celebration featuring Diplo's Major Lazer and Davido at the June 10th countdown concert, describing it as the first announcement of what promised to be an unforgettable night of music, football, and culture. Beyond the live performances, all four Nigerian artists feature prominently on the official World Cup soundtrack album. Rema collaborates with Lisa and Anita on Goals. Davido joins Nelly Furtado and Major Lazer on No Place Like Home. Arya Star teams up with Lato on Show Me, and Burna Boy reunites with Shakira on Die Die. The announcement confirms Afrobeat's arrival as a dominant force in global music, with Nigerian artists now firmly at the heart of the world's biggest sporting spectacle.
The Dangote petroleum refinery has exceeded its official capacity, processing 700,000 barrels of crude oil per day, surpassing its nameplate capacity of 650,000 barrels and cementing its status as the world's largest single-train petroleum refinery. The achievement, confirmed by the refinery's process licenses in a performance test, was announced on Thursday from Lagos. The refinery now has its sights set on doubling capacity to 1.4 billion barrels per day within the next 30 months.
Dangote, industry's vice president for oil and gas, Divakuma Edwin said the refinery's expansion plan to 1.4 million barrels per day within 30 months was designed to position the facility among the largest refineries in the world and to enhance Nigeria's energy security by eliminating dependency on imported petroleum products. He added that the refinery's long-term vision extended beyond meeting domestic demand, with ambitions to become a leading refining hub for Africa and the global market. Several African countries, he noted, already relied on the refinery to support their energy security needs. Owned by Nigerian industrialist Aliko Dangote, the refinery began full production in 2024 and has steadily ramped up output of petrol, diesel, aviation fuel, and other petroleum products. It currently supplies both local and international markets, exporting to several African countries and to destinations across Europe, including the United Kingdom, France, Spain, Italy, and the Netherlands. It has also supplied gasoline to the United States and jet fuel to Saudi Arabia. In April, S&P Global Commodities named the Dangote Petroleum Refinery the world's largest exporter of jet fuel, a title that underscores its rapidly growing influence in global energy markets. The refinery has also emerged as a key stabilizing force amid global supply disruptions, particularly those linked to ongoing tensions in the Middle East.
Five people have been injured in a stabbing at Penn Station in New York City, with one person seriously hurt. Days just days before US President Donald Trump is expected to visit the city on Monday to watch the New York Knicks in the NBA Finals. The attack took place around 7 p.m. East Time on Sunday, with a suspect apprehended by Amex police following a manhunt. Law enforcement described the stabbing as a random act of violence carried out by an emotionally disturbed individual.
The fire department of New York confirmed that one person suffered a serious injury, two had moderate injuries, and the remaining two sustained minor wounds. All 5 were taken to Bellevue Hospital for treatment.
Thank you for staying with us, and then we will take a quick look at our top stories. In higher education, Morocco draws up new strategy to reform its research sector. In health, WHO sounds alarm as Ebola cases rises past 470 in Central Africa. In business, Dangote refinery surpasses 700,000 barrels per day and major milestones. An international 5 injured in stabbing at New York's Penn Station ahead of Trump's visit. Now, thanks for staying with us on the AAU TV Midweek News. You can also get interactive with us on our various social media handles, Association of African Universities, on Facebook and YouTube. My name is Jemima, Deladem. Have a nice day.